Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. NBA free agency rumors. Timberwolves likely to lose key contributor plus latest on Lakers and Warriors. As the NBA free agency period officially kicks off in just over 24 hours, the buzz is already building. And no, LeBron James hinting at a possible trade request isn't the only headline making waves. From roster shakeups to behind-the-scenes negotiations, here's the latest intel from around the league as teams gear up for a potentially wild off-season. Timberwolves bracing to lose key role player. Let's start with a concrete development out of Minnesota. The Timberwolves have already secured significant deals with Naz Reid, 4 years, $125 million, and Julius Randle, 3 years, $100 million. But these big money contracts have effectively priced out one of their most valuable bench contributors, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Even before the ink dried on Randle's deal, many expected that the Wolves simply couldn't afford to retain NAW without blowing past the league's harsh second luxury tax apron. And now, that seems all but confirmed. According to John Krawczynski of The Athletic, a longtime Wolves insider, Alexander-Walker is headed toward free agency in search of a bigger payday. A reliable presence in back-to-back Western Conference Finals runs, NAW has become the kind of overqualified bench piece that, under the new CBA, contenders often have to reluctantly let go. On Sunday morning, NBA insider Mark Stein named the Detroit Pistons and Atlanta Hawks as the strongest suitors for Alexander-Walker's services. Is LeBron James quietly requesting a trade? LeBron James picking up his $52.6 million player option with the Lakers for next season wasn't exactly a surprise. But what was unexpected was the carefully worded statement from his agent, Rich Paul, who spoke with ESPN's Shams Charania. LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He understands the Lakers are building for the future, but he values a real shot at winning. We're thankful for the 8-year partnership with Jeanie, Buss, and Rob Pelinka. The Lakers are a major part of his legacy. This wasn't a direct trade request, but it doesn't take a reading between the lines to see what's really being said. LeBron wants to win now, and there's a growing sense that he doesn't believe the Lakers are on the same timeline. This could be his way of nudging the organization toward a graceful exit, one that preserves his image and allows the Lakers to part ways without public drama. For LA, facilitating a LeBron trade could actually be a blessing in disguise. It might free up the cap space and flexibility needed to build a future around Luka Doncic, who becomes eligible for a contract extension in early August. And from LeBron's side, opting in gives him leverage via his no-trade clause, ensuring he has a say in where he goes next. This might not be the end of the LeBron Lakers era just yet, but the writing appears to be on the wall. The only question left: who gets Bronny in the breakup? Lakers could be headed for a major roster reset. LeBron's potential departure isn't the only big change on the horizon for the Lakers. Forward Dorian Finney-Smith, a close friend of Doncic and a key rotation piece, declined his $15.4 million player option, making him one of the more intriguing veterans on the market. If both Finney-Smith and James leave, that's nearly $65 million in outgoing salary from last season's roster, signaling a significant reset. Any return package for LeBron likely won't provide immediate cap relief, but it could place the Lakers in a bridge year, a season spent reshaping the team around Luka and preparing for a new title run, rather than making a desperate push now. Heat show interest in Jonathan Kuminga. Warriors facing tough choices. Meanwhile, down in Miami, the Heat are showing interest in Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga, according to the Miami Herald. This follows earlier reports from The Athletic that Miami could be exploring a trade for the former lottery pick. Golden State, however, still holds the cards. Kuminga is a restricted free agent, so the Warriors can match any offer. But Kuminga has options too. He could simply accept his $7.9 million qualifying offer and become an unrestricted free agent next summer, giving him the freedom to choose his next destination. Elsewhere in the Bay, it's looking unlikely that Gary Payton II will return. NBC Sports' Monty Poole reported that the Warriors are leaning toward letting the 2022 champion walk, as they prioritize flexibility and younger talent like Kuminga. As Joe Viray noted for Golden State of Mind, Payton's departure would sting. He brings energy, elite athleticism, and veteran savvy. But his injury history and inconsistency have made it tough for the team to commit long-term, especially with other roster needs looming. When does NBA free agency start? The action officially begins tomorrow, June 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, when free agents are allowed to negotiate with teams. However, contracts can't be signed until July 6th, giving everyone a few days to weigh offers, explore options, and let the off-season dominoes start to fall. So buckle up, because this year's NBA free agency window could bring seismic changes across the league. Inside the Timberwolves, ownership shifts and strategic repositioning. The Timberwolves' off-season decisions go far beyond Nickeil Alexander-Walker's likely departure. Behind the scenes, a major power shift is taking place, with Mark Law and Alex Rodriguez finalizing their takeover of the franchise. Their long-term vision appears focused on sustained competitiveness around rising superstar Anthony Edwards. After trading Karl-Anthony Towns to the Knicks and bringing in Julius Randle, who quickly signed a 3-year, $100 million extension, Minnesota is reshaping its identity. Pairing Randle with Naz Reid, who inked a 5-year, $125 million deal, signals the team's commitment to size, versatility, and defensive toughness. The unfortunate downside is letting go of depth pieces like Alexander Walker, who became a fan favorite during the team's back-to-back conference finals appearances. Still, the Wolves are betting that a streamlined core will position them as perennial contenders in the West, despite the financial constraints imposed by the new collective. Warriors' off-season dreams could be derailed by rival teams' steep asking price. The Golden State Warriors entered this off-season with a clear mission: retool the roster around Stephen Curry and push for one last title run. With a blend of urgency and ambition, the front office has been exploring big trades and potential free agent signings to fortify a roster that still believes it can contend. But as they scan the market for high-impact players, one name that reportedly caught their attention is Derek White. The Celtics guard checks all the right boxes: elite defender, efficient scorer, and a proven playoff performer. He'd be an ideal fit alongside Curry and Jimmy Butler, bringing two-way versatility and stability in the backcourt. There's just one problem: the price. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher of the Stein Line, Boston is asking for Michael Bridges-type return for White. For context, that means 5 first-round picks, the same price the Knicks paid Brooklyn to land Bridges. That kind of demand puts White firmly out of reach for the Warriors, who only control their next 4 first-rounders and have limited draft flexibility beyond that. Celtics playing hardball in a new era. Boston is clearly bracing for a transitional season following Jason Tatum's Achilles injury, and they've already started reworking the roster. Drew Holiday was sent to the Trail Blazers. Kristaps Porzingis is now a Hawk. While the Celtics got reasonable value in return, including Anthony Simons and draft capital, they're holding firm when it comes to Derek White. It's easy to see why. White averaged 16.4 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4.8 assists last season while anchoring one of the league's top defenses. He's not just a role player, he's a game changer in the right system. For the Celtics, letting him go without a massive return might feel like a step too far during an already uncertain summer. But from the Warriors' perspective, paying 5 first-round picks for a 30-year-old guard, even one as dependable as White, could be a long-term gamble that's hard to justify. Golden State's dilemma: win now or be smart later. The Warriors are walking a tightrope. With Stephen Curry turning 37 next season and Jimmy Butler also on the wrong side of 30, the window to compete is narrow: 2 years, maybe less. But mortgaging the franchise's entire draft future for one player, no matter how talented, could leave the team in shambles once this championship push ends. Golden State has made it clear they're willing to be aggressive. Still, there's a fine line between all-in and all-out of options. There's no question that Derek White would make them better, perhaps even title favorites if the chemistry clicks. But with limited draft assets, Golden State needs to be strategic. If they burn all their picks now, they leave themselves with no room to pivot if things don't go according to plan. And so, as tempting as White may be, the smarter move might be walking away, at least for now. So what comes next? With the Celtics' price tag making a deal for White highly unlikely, the Warriors may need to pivot to other targets. Veterans like Malcolm Brogdon or defensive-minded wings could be more attainable at a fraction of the cost. And while none may offer White's two-way impact, the right fit, at the right price, could still elevate this roster into contention. What's clear is that the front office can't afford to miss. With their stars aging and only a handful of real opportunities left, every move matters. This off-season isn't just about talent acquisition, it's about finding the perfect balance between now and next. Betting on Plan B. Who's next for the Warriors? With Derek White effectively off the table, Golden State's front office is left to reassess its plan. While veterans like Malcolm Brogdon and Patrick Beverley have been floated as possible stay-in-shape, fill-in options, none deliver the high-ceiling two-way impact of White. But that doesn't mean there aren't alternatives. An interior anchor like Mason Plumlee or Nic Claxton could shore up a rim protector role, freeing up Steph and Butler to operate more fluidly. Or, the team could pivot toward undervalued two-way wings capable of fitting seamlessly into the existing culture. Names like Robert Covington, Terrence Ross, or even Kyle Anderson could provide defensive grit and spacing for far less. These moves might not make waves like a blockbuster trade, but they're far safer financially, and leave Golden State with flexibility to chase a second mid-season splash, especially if an opportunity arises to upgrade big via trade. What this means for the Warriors' title window. Getting this off-season right could define the tail end of the Curry era, and possibly cement the legacy of this version of the organization. Without long-term draft capital, the team is choosing proximity over pipeline, that restricts its ability to retool should things go south. On the other hand, letting go of big assets now could preserve depth and continuity, key ingredients in a playoff push. The Warriors have won championships with role players as important as stars. Their system has proven it can maximize value. In effect, this off-season is a high-stakes balancing act. Make the right additions now, and you prolong contention. Overreach, and you risk running out of fuel when the playoff run fades. Quick hits around the league. Boston Celtics, holding firm on White could backfire if their full rebuild takes longer than expected. Fans might resent the delay in returning to contender status. Eastern Conference impact. If the Warriors pass on White, another contender, perhaps Philadelphia or Milwaukee, could swoop in, strengthening their own front court and limiting Golden State's late-season matchup upside. Draft day ramifications. Should Boston successfully trade White, the Celtics' draft flexibility could shift their approach. Conversely, Golden State may use unspent picks in future trades, or simply bank them to reload later. I can catch him. Warriors draft pick Alex Chewy sets his sights on Klay Thompson. Golden State Warriors second-round draft pick Alex Chewy isn't just entering the NBA, he's arriving with bold ambitions. Finding impact players late in the NBA draft is no easy task, but the Warriors have built a reputation for uncovering hidden gems. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. recently praised prospects like Quentin Post and Trace Jackson-Davis, highlighting the team's confidence in their scouting. In this year's second round, after trading the 41st pick to the Phoenix Suns, Golden State selected Alex Chewy at No. 51 and Will Richard with the final pick at No. 59. Chewy, who previously played for the Sydney Kings in Australia, is only 21 but already thinking big. Ahead of the draft, he spent time in the US preparing, training, competing at the NBA Combine, and even crossing paths with Warriors legend Klay Thompson, now with the Dallas Mavericks. And it left an impression. In an interview with ESPN before the draft, Chewy didn't hold back. "It was really cool seeing Klay Thompson walk into the gym," he said. "It kinda gave me a checkpoint, just to see where I'm at. There are things he does better, sure, but I also see areas where I can definitely catch up to him." That's a bold claim, considering Chewy grew up idolizing Thompson. "I loved the way he could score off the dribble, but even more, how deadly he is off the ball. That's a part of my game I know will be essential when I make it to the league." Grounded and ready to grow. Chewy knows the road ahead won't be easy. He's aware that as a rookie, he won't be the focal point of the offense, and that's okay. "I probably won't have the ball in my hands a lot to create plays," he admitted. "Every team has its stars. For me, it's about fitting in, making an impact in the minutes I get, and being as efficient as possible." That mindset will serve him well on a roster that still features Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and newly acquired Jimmy Butler. For now, Chewy's job is to earn their trust, prove he belongs, and chip away at the massive gap between promise and proven greatness. If he can bring the same focus and fire that defined Klay Thompson's rise, he might just get there. A smart strategic move by the Warriors. The Warriors made a calculated move in the draft by trading down from the 41st pick, ultimately selecting Alex Chewy at No. 51 and Will Richard at No. 59. According to team executives, the decision was based on a belief that the remaining talent pool didn't vary much in that range, allowing them to add two promising prospects instead of one. Chewy, in particular, fits a mold that the Warriors value, a high IQ wing player with strong defensive instincts and untapped offensive potential. He was praised by the front office for his versatility, professionalism, and readiness to develop within the team system. Chewy's strengths and fit with Golden State. Chewy's profile as a player is built around his defensive versatility. Coaches and scouts highlight his ability to defend multiple positions, stay locked in during rotations, and close out hard without overcommitting. He also shows poise under pressure and has solid fundamentals, especially when navigating off-ball screens. On offense, while he's not yet a high-volume scorer, he's shown promise in transition and catch-and-shoot situations. His movement without the ball mirrors the style that made Klay Thompson so effective, and it's clear that Chewy models parts of his game after the Warriors veteran. His playmaking instincts and willingness to do the little things, like setting screens, making the extra pass, and keeping the ball moving, could make him a valuable piece within the Warriors' ball-sharing offense. Early expectations and development path. No one within the organization expects Chewy to step in and make an immediate impact. The Warriors view him as a developmental player, likely to split time between the main roster and their G League affiliate during his rookie season. The team's depth, with stars like Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and the recently acquired Jimmy Butler, means Chewy will need to earn his minutes through effort and efficiency. However, that suits Chewy just fine. He has a clear understanding of his role and what's expected of him at this stage. He's focused on improving his shooting consistency, physical strength, and adapting to the speed of the NBA game. Reactions and broader impact. Chewy's selection has generated excitement back home in Australia, where fans are eager to see another homegrown talent make his mark in the NBA. He's the latest in a growing wave of Australian players joining the league, and his path, from the NBL to the NBA, continues to highlight the quality of international development programs. In NBA circles, Chewy is being seen as a high-floor, high-IQ player. Some scouts believe he could eventually grow into a reliable rotation wing, similar to the archetype of players who do the dirty work, defend at a high level, and knock down open threes. Looking ahead, Chewy's first major test will come in the NBA Summer League, where he'll have a chance to showcase his skills against other young talents. Coaches will be watching his decision-making, defensive effort, and ability to contribute without dominating the ball. As the regular season approaches, his focus will shift to earning the trust of the coaching staff and veterans. If he continues to approach the game with humility, discipline, and ambition, much like the Warriors legends he grew up admiring, he could eventually carve out a lasting role in the NBA. While his journey is just beginning, Alex Chewy's mindset, skill set, and drive are already turning heads. And in Golden State, that's exactly the kind of foundation that builds champions.